Parts of the bodies all over the house. Places you wouldn't think. Things, the heads have never been found. Hands and feet and things like that. No heads.
Welcome back in Scream Queens, Horror Fiends, everything in between. Aubrey here with another Killing Time podcast. Welcome back, the third episode, and I am so excited because I'm doing something I really enjoyed. OGs of the podcast will know that I used to do this. This is going to be the first franchise dismemberment. Yes, that sounds very ominous and spooky, but isn't that what we love? Essentially, really what I'm doing is taking a franchise and going through every movie, every sense of media that it's really kind of influenced or like that is clearly a part of its universe. You'll get what I'm saying when I reveal and start talking about what I'm doing, but first time doing a solo dismemberment, I believe. So I'm very excited to do a franchise that, to be honest, to me, does not get enough love, does not get talked about enough, and a lot of things that really kind of hurts my heart. So you know what? Since I have a platform to speak about it and talk about this horror icon that I love very much, we today on the Killing Time podcast will be dismembering Candyman. Yes, say his name. Ellen. If you don't know Candyman, man, you're living under a rock. I can't wait to get into it. We're going to talk about everything that I love, the acting, the writing, where it came from, things it's influenced, the films. Clearly, the films are going to be the biggest part of the franchise we're going to talk about, but we're going to talk about everything. I'm so excited to get into Candyman. But before that begins, let's do a little housekeeping things, some stuff I want to talk about and kind of, put a bug in your ear. Have you guys ever heard of that? When people say, hey, I'm going to put a bug in your ear. What a weird saying. But I want to put something inside your guys' brain so you guys know what to look forward to and what's coming down the pipe. First off, if you don't follow me, Instagram is where I really do most of my posting. I will say I've started a TikTok in the last 3 or 4 days. I mean, it's a necessary evil at this point. I don't hate it as much as I thought I would. So if you're on TikTok, follow me there. Love, support, everything. But we're just trying to reach a bigger audience. But if you were on TikTok or Instagram, you saw something very exciting. Well, in my humble opinion, very exciting. You saw some test shooting. And what is that? It's not just me taking some photos and, we're having fun. And can I be honest? I don't like to toot my own horn, but beep, beep. I thought these photos turned out really well. We are doing some test shooting. If you go look in the links and everything, we're going to have a YouTube channel. We're going to start making some shorts. We're going to start pushing this whole Killing Time thing further than a podcast. The podcast is not going anywhere. It's going to be the meat and potatoes and where we kind of talk about what's going on in the horror community and what's going on with Killing Time. But I want everyone to know right now, you can kind of get on the ground floor and kind of see everything get built from the ground up. So again, any support, whether it's just liking, commenting, or annoying your friends into, hey, there's this really cool thing going on. You should pay attention to it. Hey, there's this really fun community growing online that's called Killing Time. You should check it out. I'm very proud of it. My friend David came over. We took some photos and some of the lights, testing out a couple cameras and lighting and stuff. And so go look at that stuff. Give it a like. I think it turned out really well. My friend David, man, he has some good costumes and some good makeup and everything. And it just really makes us excited and really energizes Mike to kind of be out here doing more than just talking at you. I think it's fun to talk on the podcast, but at the same time, I want to do more than just be a talking head that critiques everything and talks about things without throwing his hat in the ring. So I'm very excited for all that stuff to be coming down the pipe. And I hope all my Scream Queens and Horror Fiends are as well. So please go support that. I'm telling you guys, I'm so excited for this, and there's not a lot of stuff I get excited about. I'm very much a glass half empty kind of guy, and I feel very good about this. So plenty more stuff coming around the corner, more than just a podcast. I want people to realize that this Killing Time podcast, which is kind of weird to say, hey, it's more than a podcast, and then say Killing Time podcast, but you know what I mean. All my listeners are, up to par mentally, right? So What I'm trying to say is this is kind of going to become something more than just a podcast, but it is going to be the hub, the epicenter of what's going on. So if you like what we're doing, if you think it looks cool, or if you just want to support somebody that has a dream and kind of get in on the ground floor and maybe be a part of some stuff, whether it's filming, shooting, anything like that, just reach out, DM me, say hi, whether it's on TikTok or Instagram. I'm trying to build this to be a community where like everyone's welcome. So do not hesitate to ever reach out or anything like that. So with that being said, just know the production level that I'm trying to strive for and having no budget does take some time. So, and I do have a regular life. I am a dad. I am newly engaged. I have a job. So the stuff will be coming. Just know once summertime rolls around next year, there's going to be a lot of big announcements and stuff coming. But I do want to let you guys know what's going on right now and everything, what to be looking forward to, especially as spooky season rolls around the corner. We're manifesting the summer to go away because they push Halloween on us in August now, and that's fine. More spooky time is great, but it does make me throw up when I see Christmas decorations around Halloween time. So, like I said earlier, I did just start a TikTok. I've met and talked to a lot of cool people on there, just being on there for a couple days. That's why I was saying, hey, wow, this is kind of fun, necessary evil. I never wanted to be on TikTok, but again, you need to connect and just kind of talk to people. I was reached out to by Teddy1313. His on TikTok is Teddy.13132. This account reached out to me as they were involved in a Tubi horror, they say comedy, but is called Teddy Told Me To. I told him I would watch it, and like a man of my word, I will. I will say I am going to be honest. Let me start by saying this. It is on Tubi. It's free, so I get it. There's a lot of Tubi stuff on there. It seemed like everyone was having fun making the film. It seemed like the performances were decent and everyone was happy to be there and gave it their all. And that's about where I have the good stuff to say. And I'm going to be brutally honest. I'm not going to be mean, but I am going to be brutally honest. It's really bad. It's not something I would ever turn back to. It's very amateur. And I know that's probably where they're at. And I know you probably had zero budget, but I did watch it. Essentially, this is the story of two people looking to buy a haunted house, but something bad happened there. Somebody was killed, and they think it's good publicity. They buy this haunted house. Gentleman comes back who had a really bad past, i.e., I think it was with his dad or his stepdad, really abusive. Well, he becomes a killer named Teddy, and he goes around killing these people. The story I don't hate. I think it's a good story. I think it needed a lot more development. The pacing in this movie is horrible. I mean, it's not good. It's not good. It's an hour and 20 minutes. There's no reason it should be that long, 30 minutes at the most. And I think that's my biggest thing I want to stress to young filmmakers and everything. If you don't have the budget and resources to make a 90-minute film, don't do it. Don't just try to make a square peg fit a round hole. I mean, if it's not going to work and the film's not going to be there, do what you can do well. And when the time comes, then we'll move on. I mean, stuff like PowerPoint transitions, wipes, so many dissolves. Every shot felt like a mid shot. The lighting, there was so much overexposure on actors and actresses throughout this thing. I mean, there's just like people pulling their tits out for why? I don't know. Imagine showing your titties in this movie. Now I can look at your boobs online. Not even online, for free on my 85-inch TV with my 5.1 surround sound and just see that. I don't know. It's just, and again, Teddy1313, thank you for the reaching out and everything. I am just being constructive here. I am very happy you guys made this film. I am very happy you guys came together and made a piece of art. This is just constructive criticism. I hope everyone involved, and Teddy Told Me To, keeps going. And I hope they take this as constructive criticism and not as, oh, what a hater and blah, blah, blah. No, at some point, like, you have to, as an artist, be able to be like, okay, we did well here. We did not succeed here. I mean, even look at, I'll even say it with my stuff. I love the pictures I just took for the test shoots. My dumbass didn't have the backdrop all the way up. So there, you can see some C-clamps and stuff like that. And it's just stuff that you have to learn from. But this movie, I mean, unless you're into absolute trash bash, like low, zero budget type movie, or like friends on a weekend kind of getting together and completing a whole film in 2 days is what it felt like. It's just not for me. I'm sorry. And I hope everything goes where you want it to go. And I hope you guys continue to make film and continue to get better and sharpen your craft. But Teddy Told Me To is a big miss, man. I would never, ever watch this again. I would never really do a whole lot with it except turn it on as background noise while I do something. But I appreciate you reaching out, and I appreciate you taking time. And I really hope this comes across as like from a loving place, because that's where I hope this constructive criticism comes from. But I think just taking your story and refining it, whoever's involved in that film, take your story, refine it. It's not a PowerPoint presentation. You don't need all those different transitions. Let's work on our lighting. Let's vary our shots up. Let's make it feel a lot less amateur. But other than that, I mean, it is what it is. Teddy Told Me To. That was the film that I was asked to watch. So here you go. There's your review. I won't say much more from there. And again, I hope this really comes across as positive. I'm not trying to be rude, but we got to be honest with each other here. If anything, please go show some love to Teddy1313 on TikTok. Go show some love to Teddy Told Me To. Just go watch it, enjoy it. I mean, they're proud of it. And, you know, again, people came together, put time and effort into something, so we should support that. Before we get into content we really love, as in Candyman and me dismembering it, let's talk about the elephant in the room. I went and saw Ice Cream Man in theaters. I paid for tickets. I took my friend. I said on the last episode, if you want to boycott because of, you know, political reasons and Eli Roth, you're valid in that. I am just one of those guys that I separate the art and the artist. I still watch Rosemary's Baby. I still watch things that, you know, maybe an artist has done too much, but I'm focusing on the art here. And you know what? I saw it, so you don't have to. And I want to be honest. I feel like a lot of people are just mad and rightfully angry at Eli Roth. So they're just kind of coming for it and saying how horrible it is. And it's so bad and blah, 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 blase, blase. They're not wrong. But I do want to say, I just want to give a review from somebody that, again, if you look back on my last podcast, it was I think it was number 6 on my list I was most excited about. I'm a huge Eli Roth fan. I mean, the Splat Pack, I grew up with them. Rob Zombie, Alex Aja, Eli Roth, you know, those movies, that kind of molded me and made me love horror. And like Hostel 2, you think of all that type of stuff, and Cabin Fever, and I even enjoy The Green Inferno with the bad acting. Can I please tell you right now, as an Eli Roth fan and as a guy who is rooting for this film to be good, it is very bad. Very, very bad. Very bad. Bad is in the sense of I would rather watch Teddy Told Me To than Ice Cream Man over again. And let me explain why. Teddy Told Me To, they're trying. They're doing their best. They're having fun. When you have unlimited budget, and resources, what it feels like Eli Roth has, and your film comes out this bad, you made those choices. Like, I don't know what to tell you. AI, let's talk about it. That's a big thing. AI blood splat in it. AI montages in it. None of the technical quote unquote gore that I could tell was AI. Cars on fire, AI. Like, it's very palpable, the AI. Like, it's not when he came out and lied to us and was like, oh, there's no AI in it. Like, I'm sure he's like, oh, well, they can't tell. We're just using it sparingly. No, it's very obvious. It's bad AI. It's really bad AI. And it really takes away from the film. This film has no pacing. It just kind of jumps in. It's kind of weird. It's just, I don't know. Feels very much like a money grab, this movie. And you watch a lot of the talk with Eli Roth, and it just, if you want my honest opinion, it feels like he's just trying to rip off Terrifier. This whole thing feels like that. He constantly in the role as talked about, well, we're doing the Terrifier thing. We're doing the Terrifier thing. We're putting it out independently. We're doing it like Terrifier. And then you come out and make this film that looks like a really, can I be honest, it feels like a ripoff with a really bad story. And I think you also can't film a film like Ice Cream Man with these immaculate, what could be 8 or 10K cameras that look phenomenal, like pristine, and then make the quality of the art that the camera's filming like Teddy Told Me To. Like, it's just bad. I don't know what to say. The gore looks horrible. The acting is cringy and over the top. Eli Roth puts himself in the movie to try to act, and it really takes away because he is not on the same level as some of the people acting in this film. It's just, there's no redeeming qualities. And as an Eli Roth fan, that hurts my soul. This film feels like his 3 from hell for Rob Zombie. Like, why the fuck are we here? Why is this even made? Why do you have enough money to make this movie this bad? Can we get some money to some people out here, maybe make an original idea? I will say there was also a lot of rumblings in Ice Cream Man that, oh, it's like a sequel or a remake of the Clint Howard one. Not true. This one's a lot different in the storytelling. The only similarities is there's a killer Ice Cream Man. It's bad. I mean, even the Ice Cream Man himself feels like a ripoff of Art the Clown. He never says anything. He doesn't talk. He's always creepily smiling and waving. It feels like Eli Roth was like, hey, it's not fair Damien Leone makes all this money on his self-produced stuff. I'm Eli Roth. I can do that too. Eli, come on, man. I'm not going to lie. This is the point in his career where I kind of feel like I'm not excited for his films anymore. This one falls into Knock Knock. This one falls into just all the bad stuff he's really produced. This would be a top 2 bottom movie for me. And maybe that's his point. Maybe that's what he's going for. But man, there's no point in self-servicing yourself like that. The only thing I really enjoyed in the movie was there was a trailer at the beginning that was Snoop Dogg saying, don't go in that house, bitch. Or bitch, don't go in the house. That shit was funny. Other than that, Ice Cream Man, really, no. I never scary, never looked away because of gore. Everything felt really AI'd or done before. You know, we just saw Evil Dead Burns and we just got a really good ear, scene. And then we come out and we kind of get that same thing in Ice Cream Man. And like, it's just bad, guys. It's just bad. From the people that are going to be the Eli Roth, like glazers are going to be like, oh, it's so good and brutal. It wasn't even brutal. It really wasn't. It felt like a rush to a lazy gore. And then it felt like he made a movie so he could get a really good decapitated version of his head, Eli Roth, that is. Man, I'm done rambling about it. Just know, as somebody that was actually excited about it, go back and listen to my podcast. I was before it even came out and all the rumors came out. I was excited about it. I can tell you it is as bad as it looks, and it is as bad as they're saying. That's not just people trying to railroad Eli Roth. Eli Roth needs to look in the mirror and say, hey, man, I've gone too far. This is not it. Take a little more time, refine your shit, Eli. Like, make your gore look good. Quit using AI. Quit lying to us about AI. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I was so happy with Thanksgiving, and I thought we were getting Thanksgiving too. And then I was excited to see Ice Cream Man because it could be like a little, all right, hype. Let's have a lot of fun. Let's get ready for his next project. And man, this like really stops a lot of momentum going forward for me personally that anything Eli Roth is attached to. But we are about 20 minutes in, and that is enough negativity for the start of this podcast. Let's get into something I love. I know. And I have had so much fun doing my research and thinking with myself about dismembering a franchise that is very beloved to me. Candyman. I got to be a little careful. That's one time. So I've already said before in this podcast, I don't want to make things too like political or anything like that. Can I just say, you can't have a Candyman story without talking about some of the, political dichotomy that comes with it and like the social stuff and everything like that. So it will be spoke on today. It's important. And to be honest, why I like it so much is because you listen to somebody like John Carpenter in an interview one time said, I can give you all the killers and all the scary things in front of you, but the scariest thing is when you point the finger back at yourself, and that's where the true fear is, like when you're the evil. And I think that's the biggest thing with Candyman is like, here's this terrifying, vengeful soul with a hook for an arm coming for you. But really, this would have never happened is if us as humans could just see people as humans. Everyone's equal. And so I guess, like I said, I don't want to get too political, but for those who don't know, shout out. Let me also give a shout out to CZ's World. He has like an hour-long breakdown. If you really, really want to get in the weeds on like the timeline of Daniel Robitaille, who is Candyman, the original, Tony Todd. So if you want to watch like really, really in detail and you like this podcast and you want to learn more about the mythology, the letter CZ's World, go check it out. He did a really good job. So shout out him. So Candyman, we are going to talk about 4 films in the franchise and a couple other things. I'll give a brief overview of Candyman, what it is, where it came from. It started as a short novella, I believe, or a short story in a novella. I've said before, I'm not a big reader, by Clive Barker. Yes, the Clive Barker, Hellraiser. If you guys don't know, very, very big stalwart character in the horror community. wrote the original. Clive Barker wrote The Forbidden, which was the original story for Candyman. I only say that to say this. I'll be honest, I haven't read it, but that inspired Bernard Rose, who made 1992's Candyman. The movie is an hour and 39 minutes, which is right in that sweet spot. I think about 90 minutes to an hour 45 is about the perfect sweet spot for a movie. So what changed from The Forbidden? Bernard Rose took The Forbidden was set in London, I believe, or at least somewhere in the EU. And Bernard Rose brought it over to Cabrini Green, which is a real place and my favorite city of all time, Chicago. And it's a housing project. Real rough, real tough. I mean, kids listening to the podcast, it was the OG O Block, if you know what I mean. Cabrini Green, where's this come into play? We're in Chicago. What is all this? What are you talking about? Okay, let's sit back into it. Let's give a little back context to Candyman, who he is, how he came to be. Before becoming the aforementioned Candyman, Daniel Robitaille was a young African-American painter in the 1800s. He got a lot of opportunity for a black man in the 1800s in Louisiana, being a great painter and an artist. Daniel Robitaille, that is. Daniel Robitaille was commissioned to paint this very, very wealthy landowner's daughter and catch her virginal beauty. Yeah, cringe. So Daniel Robitaille was commissioned to make paintings of this woman. That young woman's name that Daniel Robitaille fell in love with was Caroline Sullivan. Really, all you need to know is Daniel Robitaille, a black man in the 1800s who was a painter in Louisiana, not a good time, not a good situation for him, fell in love with a white woman in Louisiana. And a very powerful white man chases him throughout the country, trying to seek justice for him deflowering his beautiful young virgin bride. Just to be honest, just so we know, because I know horror goes this route sometimes, Caroline Sullivan and Daniel Robitaille, it was very consensual. They were in love with each other. This is not a creepy, like, oh, I'm gonna do what I want to do, I spit on your grave type shit. It's not like that. They were actually in love, but because of the time, again, the 1800s, the South and everything like that, they want retribution. This was not okay back then. So they chased Daniel Robitaille, this painter, all over the country seeking retribution. They catch up with him in Chicago, Illinois, in Cabrini Green before it is the housing ghetto. They catch Daniel Robitaille, they cut his right arm off, they shove a hook in there, and they steal honeycomb and honey from a local beehive, a big one, and rub him full of honey. And they sit back and watch these bees just tear him apart. Because if you guys aren't I don't know what a zoologist, I don't even know what it would be. If you don't know anything about bees, but if you take their honey and you take it, they're going to come get it. They're pretty mad about it. So they come attack him, and all these white men watch Daniel Robitaille essentially get stung to death. Think about that. You either bleed out with your arm cut off and having a rusty tetanus hook shoved up in there, or the bees stinging you to death. And no, not Nicolas Cage. The bees, not like that, like actually good. Essentially, Candyman is seeking retribution and will come to anybody that speaks his name 5 times into a mirror. Candyman, 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 I'm not doing it anymore. Essentially, Candyman will appear. And again, he's just seeking retribution at this point. There's not much more to the story, but I think that's good. I think it's very cut and dry. You can see, and to be honest, you almost sympathize with him because you think about other big stalwart horror characters and their backstory and everything. And sometimes they're just mean to be mean. Yeah, I think Michael Myers is a little more mean. I think mean is a bad word to describe Michael Myers. I think it's a little worse than that. But you guys get what I'm saying. You almost are rooting for him, but you're not. Because you're like, yeah, fuck those white people for doing that to you. But at the same time, you're like, wait, maybe we shouldn't just be killing each other. Anyways, I digress. Daniel Robitaille, his life was cut short. He was a great painter. Now, if you speak his name 5 times into a mirror, he comes and gets you. Now you know who Candyman is. If you don't know who Candyman is, that's essentially the whole backstory to the franchise itself. Let's get into it. I know I kind of spoke on it a little bit before. The first film, 1992's Candyman, came out and was directed by Bernard Rose. It was moved to Chicago, where the first film in 92 does a very, very good job. I gave you all that backstory. It doesn't really even unfold that way. The whole film is really, it talks about, I don't want to get too political, but it talks about the treating of Black Americans throughout history in America. It also speaks about not the game of telephone, but urban legend. It talks about urban legend and how just keeping that alive is actually not good for us. There's so many things that get talked on in the first film. It's so beautifully done, and the score is so good. I mean, you just think the opening scene is just like this strangely gothic, like choir almost. And it lends very well to almost being like when you see Candyman in the first movie, he feels almost like a religious symbol, to be honest. And it just plays so good. And Tony Todd's performance is so good. And Virginia Madison's performance is so good. And the scares are genuinely scary for a slasher movie. Sometimes it's just kind of like boo around the corner to the next kill. That's not the case here. There's actual tension building. You care about the characters. The story unfolds and it just gets crazier and crazier and crazier. But essentially Candyman finds, I wouldn't say a young journalist, but a journalist who is researching urban legends and Candyman and the effects and blah, blah, blah. It's like a research paper. So she goes to current day Cabrini Green, 92 Cabrini Green. It's rough. People think she's a police officer, and her colleague go there and they do some research, and it just gets creepy. And again, I don't want to give too much away in case you haven't seen the first film, because in my opinion, this is an S tier movie, 92 Candyman. I don't think any of the other films reach this level, but they're still very good. This is like S tier horror films for me. And so just, be honest. Would you guys want me to do another episode doing my top 10 favorite horror movies of all time? I did. That was my very first episode way back in 2022, back when I was doing the podcast. Seen a lot of film. I've changed my taste a little bit. There's some films that maybe I kind of want to replace and put some new ones on there. So I might do that as well too. But Candyman, getting back to Candyman, the first film did very well. There's Ted Raimi's in here, the aforementioned Tony Todd, who I think is probably the only person that could really pull this role off and make this film that's what takes it to the S tier. Everything's great about this movie. Everything's great about it. And then there's just the performance of Tony Todd that just like ascends it to this new level of like, oh my gosh. Like, it's just every time he approaches screen and like he just hits you with that baritone voice. Like it's so good. People, I'm telling you, Candyman is definitely a franchise and slasher that needs to get more love. And I don't want to give a whole lot away, but there's a lot of twists and turns. There's great gore in the first one. Essentially, a baby goes missing. Daniel Robitaille, aka Candyman, wants Virginia Madison's character Helen to fall in love with him and be his victim and be all these things. He kind of grows an infatuation for her. I don't know if he sees something like the aforementioned Caroline Sullivan that kind of reminds him of her. But here's another great thing I love about Candyman. Like, he kind of plays with his food. Helen's character, he doesn't just like kill her right away. He like essentially kills people around her and frames her. And so that's another great thing in this film is like nobody believes Helen, but us as the audience and Helen, we all know what's really going on. Candyman's fucking real. And like, this is dire situation. And please trust me, don't say his name 5 times in the mirror because he will appear. You think of shots. I remember being a kid and watching that scene where she's in the insane asylum talking to her therapist, and just that scene, man, that caught me off guard when I was a kid. Terrified me. But anyways, Candyman steals a young baby from Cabrini Green. And this is where it really starts to get crazy. Essentially, Candyman's going to kill this baby in a giant bonfire. And Helen is the one that comes out, ends up saving this young baby instead of going with Candyman, but ends up burning alive. So I'm not going to give a whole lot away. I am going to tell you that because it is important for a film down the line. Not the next one, but the very last one, the 2022 or 2021 Candyman remake is going to be important that you remember Helen saved a baby named Anthony. Candyman 92, S tier horror film, S tier film. I hate when people are like, well, it's a S tier horror film. It's film. So it's S tier film work. Everything. I wouldn't change one thing about OG 92 Candyman. 92 Candyman really kicks everything off and really kicks the door down. And I thought was just such a refreshing piece of film, and it still works today. That we'll talk about. And that's kind of sad, but that's kind of empowering for the art of Candyman, but it's kind of sad it's still relevant today. So definitely check out Candyman 92 if you haven't seen it. Please, I implore you. It is such a good film. even if you don't like the other films, there are some people that love 92 Candyman, but just don't like the other films. That's okay. This one is the standalone. It does have a book ending that does lead to some ambiguity that can have sequels, but more or less you can watch 92 Candyman and step away and never deep dive into the franchise. But if you are interested, I'm going to dismember a few more films and things in the Candyman universe. So 3 years after 1992's Candyman, directed by Bernard Rose, we got a sequel called Farewell to the Flesh, which is set in Louisiana. And I'll be honest, as big of a fan of Chicago and the city and everything like that I am, I know I have those biases. It fits in Louisiana really well because this one's set in New Orleans, the hometown of Daniel Robitaille. So number one, the first Candyman, I don't even know how to articulate. He's definitely not like, his backstory and everything is kind of like just a part of the story to explain him. Farewell to the Flesh, the second one, and the third one give you a lot more expose into Daniel Robitaille and how he became Candyman. It's much more about his story and much more kind of about him and the Sullivan family and how that all came to be, and not necessarily cursed, but they're just kind of, it's destiny that they're going to meet, because it's like their families have always been intertwined after Daniel Robitaille was murdered. So Farewell to the Flesh. It was made in 1995. Like I said, it is 4 minutes shorter, if you were wondering, than the first one, and it grossed $25 million. So it did pretty well in the box office. This is a far less superior film than 92, and I don't mean that in a rude way. It just isn't as dynamic. It isn't as good. It isn't as shocking and everything like that. Tony Todd's back, A+. Again, Tony Todd being Candyman, I don't know. It's very Freddy Krueger and Robert Englund-esque. It's like, I know at some point somebody else is going to have to do it, but I just don't see how that's going to work. But whatever. So essentially, Farewell to the Flesh takes place in New Orleans, Louisiana, and it's around Mardi Gras. It's like Fat Tuesday, and I'm not Jesuit, so I have no idea about any of that stuff. I just know about Mardi Gras, and it's around that time and like the Day of the Dead and all that type of stuff going on. And it ends up, without giving too much away, because if you're going to watch it, I don't want to like spoil it. And a lot of people have not even gone to Farewell to the Flesh because there's a lot of stigma with the Candyman sequels that they're garbage, and Farewell to the Flesh is not garbage. We'll talk about the third one. We'll get there. Farewell to the Flesh is not garbage. I would definitely not say it's anywhere near the level of the first film, but I still enjoy it. And if you enjoy the character of Candyman, you're going to enjoy Farewell to the Flesh. It kind of picks up shortly after the whole first movie in Cabrini Green, and it kind of takes place starting with like a book tour of somebody from the first movie kind of writing about it. And again, speaking into that urban legend of keeping it going, i.e. very similar to Freddy Krueger in the sense of like, we could stop this if we just quit talking about it. And they play on that a little bit in the 2021 one when we'll talk about that film, but it kind of leads into, hey, we're just as culpable in Candyman killing people because we can't stop talking about it. We can't keep that legend dead. We have to keep his power going by talking about him and always speaking his name. And some idiot's going to try to say his name 5 times and give him power. And that's kind of where number 2 picks up. It's set more in the South. It's very fun. I think there's a lot more religious undertones. So I think he comes through much more like a religious figure, like I don't even want to say an antichrist, but he kind of in a sense, he kind of comes in, he's a very like big presence, and Tony Todd just is too good. Like he just feels bigger than every scene he's in, and I mean that in a respectful way. But essentially, this movie kind of intertwines with the timeline of, oh, there's some Sullivan family, oh, Candyman's coming back for that, oh, and that type of thing. So if you want to see the Sullivan family kind of collide with who they have wronged in the past, because again, remember, in the 1800s, Caroline Sullivan fell in love with Daniel Robitaille, and interracial love was not accepted. So they ran away, and Daniel Robitaille was murdered. So essentially, way down descendants. I'm not doing the genealogy. Like I said, watch CZ's World. I think it's like great granddaughter or something, and it ends up summoning Candyman. It's really good. It's very similar to the first one. It's not as good, but the kills are good. Tony Todd's great in it. I think it pushes the story well. I think it gets a little melodramatic at the end, but it's okay. I think the story is a little more convoluted and not as well thought out. But if you're a big fan of Candyman and kind of understand how the intricacies work, or want to know more about his background, or really want to know what I would really call the main timeline of Candyman, because again, feels like destiny for him and the Sullivans to be on a crash course at this point. That's Farewell to the Flesh. I don't want to give too much away. I think it's a really good film. I think a lot of people have a stigma about Candyman sequels that they're not good. We'll talk about the third one, but I think Farewell to the Flesh fits in just fine here. Just fine here. And you know, as a fan of and if you don't know Candyman, I'll kind of equate it to this. Me personally, again, Halloween, I love Halloween 78. That's like my favorite film of all time. Halloween 2 is great, but I would never say it's as good as 78. Like, it's not even close. That doesn't mean I don't enjoy it. That doesn't mean I don't think it's good, but come on, there's levels. But I will say, Farewell to the Flesh, badass name. Name is tough as hell. Candyman, Farewell to the Flesh, again, kind of pushes more forward the destiny side of the Sullivan family and Daniel Robitaille colliding in Louisiana again, and kind of pushing that forward. So that tension's kind of built there. But again, watch it. It's definitely not as good as the first one, but I do think it's worth a watch, especially if you are a fan of Tony Todd and the Candyman character as a whole. Then we move to arguably, in my opinion, the weakest film in the franchise. This is about the only one that I'm like, you can skip it. Like it, and I'm a big Candyman fan. Candyman 3 Day of the Dead, it's just not there. And just to give you a quality overview, this is just so you know, the first two were theatrical releases, and number 3, Candyman Day of the Dead, went straight to video. The only redeeming quality here, again, is Tony Todd. I mean, you just can't be mad at that, playing Candyman. But essentially, this movie takes place years later when the grown-up version of the girl from number 2 is grown up. She is an art dealer, and she's pretty much set in Los Angeles, obsessed with Daniel Robitaille's like work and everything, kind of bringing it back to life again, speaking on that urban legend and just speaking about it, like just keeping it going. You're culpable, you're part of the problem, like stop talking about it. He's real, say his name and he will appear. So it kind of plays into that. It just doesn't do a lot for me. It doesn't add much to the story. It kind of feels like a weak blending of the first and second film, meaning kind of the art aspect and taking and pushing Candyman forward. But essentially in this one, the lineage gets a little confusing, but essentially what they're trying to say in the third one is the main girl is like great granddaughter of Caroline Sullivan, and Candyman kind of sees Caroline in her and like he's actually kind of in love with her. But then you kind of think it's like, wouldn't you technically be like the great granddaughter? I don't know. It gets a little murky, but you know, it is what it is. It's not the best film. If you are like an absolute diehard Candyman fan, you'll probably enjoy it. If you really like Tony Todd, it's worth watching. There's not a whole lot new here. Essentially, he starts framing this girl like he did to Helen in the first one, that she's killing people, and essentially kind of like the first one, trying to take her back. But in the second one, then you find out they're like kind of related, or like somehow the Sullivan family timeline like collide. Like I'll be honest, I don't know. It doesn't do a good job of really speaking into existence and talking about it, but that's what they're going for, is that kind of angle. And it's just not for me. I don't really like it. So check it out if you want. But I think personally in this review and this franchise dismemberment, if it were me, I would watch number 1. I will watch Farewell to the Flesh, and then I would move straight to 2021. Unless you just need more Candyman, which is not always a bad thing. And I'll be honest, I'm sorry if I'm kind of running through this, or people really wanted a much more like deep dive. To be honest, I've been getting a lot of really positive feedback about the episodes being about an hour long. So I'm being more conscious of that. If the people want that, I'm keeping it that way. So I'm kind of speed running this thing. I'm really just trying to give you an overview of the franchise and everything like that. Maybe if you've never given Candyman a chance, or maybe you were like, I don't know what that is. I don't even know if I'd be interested in it. I don't really want to watch an hour long thing of explaining and breaking down everything. I'm just giving you like little highlights of every film, in my opinion of it and how it fits in the franchise. So take it as it is. Professional yapper again. See, I don't even take a breath sometimes. I'll just be yapping. We are not done yet because we have one more film to talk about. It's a highly divisive film. I feel it's very polarizing, not only in the Candyman community, but I think people that just went into it not knowing, because I do think that is the case here. When this film came out, Candyman 2021, directed by Nina DaCosta, I'll be honest, I don't know if a lot of people really knew Candyman or like really knew what it was about. I think they assumed Tony Todd was coming back with better and nicer equipment, and that's not what you got. So if that's what you were expecting, I think a lot of people came into 2021 Candyman and were like, what the heck? I didn't even see Tony Todd. You did at the end. It might have been CGI. Can't confirm that. It was a little cringy, but 2021. Let me first start by saying, and I don't know off the top of my head, 2021 Candyman was written by Nina DaCosta, but I will say, if it was, kudos. You really know your stuff about Candyman. Like, there's so many Easter eggs if you know the franchise coming back. I mean, even like number 3. I'm not a big fan of number 3, but you can tell number 3 at least had some type of influence, or they're giving a little call back to it because the main character, Anthony, is a painter. So it kind of all comes full circle. 2021 breaks down. It follows Anthony. He's the main character. He is a up and coming prominent black artist in what used to be the ghetto of Cabrini Green. And I think now it's a gentrified, very nice, high rise apartment complex that, you know, might have displaced a lot of people of color and low income families and things like that. That was very palpable in 2021 and in the Big 2-6, which is sad. But this movie, I mean, we're not getting too political, but this movie came right off the heels of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. So if you know, you know, and I think it was a much kind of needed movie. I will say, hate being this way, but I do think if I have one complaint about 2021 Candyman, I think some of the, and I really tiptoe around this because I don't think, how do I want to say this? The only real issue or knock I had, especially when it came to the film speaking on stuff like that, is sometimes it was a little too on the nose. And I get that maybe they're really trying to push forward, like, this is important. You need to listen to this, people. You take your eyes out of your phone and listen to this. But just me as an artist, like, sometimes I don't like when it's so on the nose like that. I think 92 did a much better job of like speaking on it, but like speaking on it in a very artistic way. But again, I'm splitting hairs here. I really enjoy 2021 Candyman. Now, again, a big complaint you're going to see from people is, what the hell? There's no Tony Todd. Again, there is at the end if you kind of pay attention, but again, it could be CGI. I don't know. It was a little cringy, but it was nice to see Tony Todd's voice at least. Candyman follows Anthony, this artist. This film talks more about and shows different Candyman, if this makes sense. Like 2021's Candyman kind of steps away from Daniel Robitaille and steps into a new Candyman. And I think a lot of people had issues with that, but the new Candyman is Sherman Fields. And I think this is what I did like about this film. And it does, again, it gets a little on the nose, and they talk about that later in the film, but it was palpable to me before they went to like, hey, we're spelling it out for you if you could not put the dots together. Sherman Fields is set in the 70s. There's a young child named William Burke in the 1970s in the ghettos of Cabrini Green. So again, going back, this is before Helen in 1992. Sherman was essentially framed for putting razor blades and candy and was like hiding in the walls, and then the police find him and beat him to death with police brutality for no reason. Well, I guess no justification, but still, I don't think police should be beating people to death. Anyways, long story short, Sherman Fields essentially becomes the new Candyman. There's different versions of Candyman, and I think that's a really smart idea, because they do talk about this in 2021 with the William Burke character when he's grown up. Because William Burke, the child that watched Sherman Fields get beat to death by the police, becomes a big integral character, spreading the Candyman word and teaching Anthony, the main character, about Candyman. So it's really well written out. That's why I tell people, like, hey, you need to sit down, like, write your movie a little bit more instead of just assuming none of us are going to do these mental gymnastics to see how the story fits together. I feel 2021 did a really good job of being tight and everything made sense, especially with taking on a big role of like, hey, we're trying to introduce new Candyman. Anyway, Sherman Fields is the Candyman you're going to see here. Same rules apply. Say his name 5 times in the mirror. He comes to you. There's some big standout scenes in this movie. The elevator scene's phenomenal. I think performances are great in this movie. Essentially, Anthony becomes more and more interested in learning about Candyman and goes further and further down the Candyman hole, which again, if you've watched anything about franchise or anything, that's the point. Like, you can't be doing that. The more we entertain him, the more power we give him. Again, think Freddy Krueger a little bit. He becomes more and more obsessed with it, and the story starts to unfold and unfold and unfold. I do want to put this out here. If you remember the baby from 1992 that Helen saved from Candyman, little spoiler alert, but I do think it's important and it doesn't spoil too much. You come to find out Anthony was that baby. Anthony was that baby that was saved from Helen in the 1992 film. Now, again, that's kind of a big turning point in the movie, so I'm sorry if I spoiled that for you, but I also don't think a lot of people understood that when they were watching it, or like, what the hell were they talking about? But just know, Anthony is the baby that was saved from the 1992 bonfire in Candyman. So knowing that, again, it kind of plays into number 2 and 3, where it's like, okay, so this is almost destiny. And essentially, I don't want to give too much away, but it gets crazy from there. 21 fits really well in here. I think it fits the time. I think it brought a very good horror character up to speed, meaning the first film was made in 1992. The world's a little bit different place, and that's not a bad thing. I'm just stating the obvious here. So bringing Candyman up to the days, the times, and talking on some things that are still unfortunately prevalent in the world. So Candyman, overall, great franchise. I think you could do without number 3, unless you are an absolute fanatic, screen queen, horror fiend, or anything in between, and just want more and more Candyman, then go ahead and watch Day of the Dead, number 3. But in my opinion, if you're just going to watch Candyman, or you're like, okay, I just want the Candyman experience, I want everything, 2 things. I would watch 1992 first. I would watch Farewell to the Flesh, number 2, and then I would watch 2021. You can skip the third one. It doesn't add much. 2021 Candyman has, number 1, just some gorgeous shots. You know, I've talked so much about Sean Burns' The Devil's Candy. There's, i.e., with Anthony being a painter, some of the art and stuff that comes up from it is just phenomenal. And, you know, I am pretentious, so I love when that type of stuff's right there. But the paintings are phenomenal. I think Nia DiCastro did a great job with this film. She also, if you didn't know, if you were a big fan of Bone Temple 28 Years Later, she also directed that. So if you liked Bone Temple, go watch Candyman 2021. I will say, if you have not seen 2021 Candyman, when the kills are happening, look in the mirrors. I've watched it many times. A lot of people complained, what the hell? These people are just getting killed and floating around. It doesn't make any sense. Look in the mirrors, guys. You will see Sherman Fields in the mirrors killing them. You can't watch the actual kill. And I thought that was really cool. I thought it was great. So I really enjoyed 2021 Candyman. I think it really fits in to the franchise really well. I also really like the cutouts that they used instead of like just a montage. Like so many people go with the cliche like montage or flashback. Nina did a really cool thing with these cutouts and everything. Man, it was really cool. Well thought out movie. Really enjoyed that film from 2021. So yeah, that's kind of Candyman, especially on the film side of things. I will say, if you want a little bit of if you want a little bit more Candyman, like you cannot get enough of it. Or if you just like Ice Nine Kills, I'm sure most of you know Farewell to the Flesh. I think it was off Horrorwood or Welcome to Horrorwood. There's a song for Farewell to the Flesh, or a Candyman song, and it's titled Farewell to the Flesh. It's fun. If you like Ice Nine's Kill, big, heavy, kind of, you know, that music. But anyways, my favorite thing in that song from Ice Nine Kills is there's like an interpolation of the Flight of the Bumblebee, you know, in the guitar solo, and it just fits perfect because it's like, oh, bees play a huge part in Candyman. So you can tell Ice Nine Kills are big fans of horror film, and I like that they gave Candyman his own song, because when we're talking Michael, we're talking Jason, we're talking Freddy, we're talking can I be honest, why do people bring up Chucky more than Candyman? Candyman's way better than Chucky. And that's no shade to Chucky, but come on, people. I don't think a lot of people give Candyman his flowers. Let's change that. So this was my franchise dismemberment on Candyman. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you thought. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Killing Time. I'm so excited to be back. Again, please go follow me on TikTok. Go follow me on Instagram. YouTube videos coming soon. If you go to my Instagram, you can just click my little link. It'll take you to either the podcast, merch store, YouTube, all that stuff. Stuff's coming down the pipe, guys. And I'm so excited. And everyone that's stuck around and been here and just been supportive and everything like that. I just want you guys to be able to reap that tenfold. So again, thank you guys so much for sticking around. And as always, stay scary, people.